Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Stephanie Liu, and welcome to a new episode of Lights, Camera, Live. And I've got one of the most energetic speakers on LinkedIn ads right now for today. And I can't wait for you to be a part of this. AJ Wilcox is like the go to expert when it comes to LinkedIn ads. And guess what? His agency specifically focuses on LinkedIn ads for the most sophisticated companies that is out there. He's a certified LinkedIn partner and he's the founder of B2 Linked. So without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce you to AJ Wilcox. AJ, what's up?
So excited to be here, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
Yay! We're actually doing this. I am beyond excited. So you guys, I had AJ on the show last week and we had a little bit of live streaming hiccup, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this and we're going to have fun. So, AJ, let's talk about LinkedIn ads and why you got started with LinkedIn ads.
Yeah, so I started out life as a search guy. Like I did a lot of search engine optimization, Google ads, and really liked that side of digital marketing. But I went to go work for a company doing digital marketing, like managing the whole digital marketing department. And I had, 4.5 years of experience. I felt like I was on top of my game. I felt like I knew what I was doing. And the CMO calls me in and says, hey, tell me about your strategies. And I told her and everything was great. She said, okay, all that sounds great. Go ahead and execute it. But just so you know, we started a pilot using LinkedIn ads. And so see what you can do. And I kind of saluted and said, yes, ma'am, absolutely. And then kind of walked out of her office and went, what are LinkedIn ads? I have no idea. I feel like an idiot. But I didn't want to look stupid to my new boss. So I went and dove into the platform and started trying to figure things out. And about 2 weeks later, I had a sales rep come up to me who said, AJ, we love your leads. We're fighting over them. Like, whatever you're doing, keep it up. And I went, what are you talking about? I logged into Salesforce and started looking at these leads he was talking about. And every single one of them said source LinkedIn ads. So I went, oh, there's something here. So I kept growing and growing and growing that account. Just as fast as I could. And I grew it to become LinkedIn's largest account worldwide. And after running that for 2.5 years, I went, okay, there's something more to LinkedIn ads. It's not just this one company that it's good for. And so I started an agency so I could help as many people as possible.
Oh, I love that. And see, you guys, when I first dipped my toe into LinkedIn ads, the same thing happened to me. I had a client that said, hey, we want to try out LinkedIn ads. And I was like, okay, well, having a background in PPC and Facebook advertising, I thought that the experience would be similar. Boy, was I wrong, right? I was like, okay, this is a little different. Everything from the campaign manager, how you build out your ads, how you build out your audiences. And I asked everyone, I was like, if I were to learn LinkedIn ads, who would be the best person to go to? And of course, you, sir, came up. And so having said that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about first, what are the benefits of LinkedIn ads?
Well, the whole reason we go to LinkedIn ads is because the targeting is amazing. People talk about LinkedIn being great for B2B. And of course, B2B is not the only fit for it, but the targeting certainly lends itself so well. We can target people by their job title, their company size, their company industry, seniority, skills, the individual group names that they're members of, gender, age, years of experience. The list just goes on and on and on. And even I think more exciting to me right now is there's this whole conversation about account-based marketing going on, ABM, and everyone's super excited about it. From day one on LinkedIn ads back in 2007, we've been able to target by company name. So LinkedIn ads was the original ABM platform.
And that, I feel like that's one of the things that most people don't realize is that Facebook no longer allows you to target specific companies, but yet you could still do that on LinkedIn. So win-win.
Exactly. Oh, and even when you could use that on Facebook, we did it quite a bit because we loved that, but it was so hard to spend any money because I think it was only something like 4 to 6% of people would even bother to put their job title and their company name into their profile. And so when you're targeting the right company, you're like, oh, I'm spending, $6 a day. I want to spend more. And you kind of turn the knob up to 8, and then you kind of run out of people to target and it's hard to spend money. But LinkedIn, it's really simple to spend on those audiences because the second you create a profile, LinkedIn knows what company you're at and what your job title is, and you give it more information that allows marketers to target. So it's like, LinkedIn ads is where I go when the targeting is the most valuable. I need to make sure I'm getting the right people. and I need them at scale.
Yeah. And this is one of the conversations that you and I both had where, if you wanted to target a company CEO with like 500 plus people in the organization, you can do that. But on Facebook, you can't filter that out to say, well, how large is the company size? So you could have, Joe Schmo in their basement, like, I'm the CEO. And,
Yes.
and it's not really a business. And yet you're spending money on that.
Yeah, and it's so valuable for our clients too, because company size is that one filter I use for pretty much every campaign we run. Because if the client sells like a $50 a month subscription to something, then I know I can target small to medium sized businesses, and I'm going to exclude the larger, which are going to be more competitive and are going to cost more. And if I'm selling a product or service that's like a 50K kind of close, I know I'm only going to launch those to people with, 1,000 or more employees or 5,000 plus employees. So company size is so valuable for making sure you're getting like exactly the right quality of lead.
And that's gold. Because I remember when I'm a huge fan of AJ Wilcox. If there was a president of like the AJ Wilcox fan club, that would be me, because I have been researching you. I watched your SEMrush webinar, your Social Media Examiner blog post. And I was like, this is gold. I was like, yay, AJ. So what are some additional differences between Facebook and LinkedIn that you would like our viewers to know?
Well, I think, first of all, thank you. Like, I'm turning bright red and I'm already a pretty red person. The biggest differences I see between Facebook and LinkedIn has, I mean, when you look at just the pure platform compared to Facebook, Facebook is a much more developed ad technology. The ads manager is so much more feature rich. You can do so much more with it. It's a more advanced kind of technology. So when you're in Facebook and then you move over to LinkedIn, it might feel a little bit like you've kind of gone back to Facebook circa 2010. It'll feel like taking a step back in time. So certainly there's that. Like, LinkedIn is a very simple version of Facebook, but they keep gaining features all the time. The other difference that I think most people will notice very quickly is that Facebook ads are very inexpensive compared to LinkedIn. We might be paying $1 to $2 a click for business to business stuff on Facebook, but you're probably going to end up paying somewhere between about $6 to $10 per click on LinkedIn. So big cost difference too, which is why I think it makes sense to really narrow your targeting and only go after those kinds of deals where it's the big fish. This is like spear fishing, whale fishing, rather than just like throwing your hook in the water and waiting for just whatever comes.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes even with Facebook, when you're developing like your funnel, right, it's about like leaving the little breadcrumbs that finally go to the buffet of options that you have available. But with LinkedIn, because you're investing so much more, you could go in with the big ask of like, this is what I do. This is the problem that I could solve for you right now. And boom, let's get it done. Right?
Yeah, totally. And when you think about where someone is at in the funnel, in the sales process, I like to put Facebook and LinkedIn on kind of the same level. What you can get away with on Facebook, you can usually get away with about the same thing on LinkedIn. I think of them in, their middle to top of funnel kinds of strategies. So this is where every time I show an ad to someone on LinkedIn, I just assume that this is the first time they've ever heard about my company. So I know the goal of my post is to get them to know, like, and trust me, to get them to want to follow, to want to be willing to engage. So really similar to Facebook in that regard.
And if you guys are just tuning in, we are talking about a beginner's guide to LinkedIn ads. And let me tell you, AJ also even has a strategy on how to increase your brand lift by 10%. I remember that from our last conversation. So stick around for that because we have a lot more going on. Let's also talk about who should be leveraging LinkedIn ads, because Anisha Collins said, as a social media marketing agency, does LinkedIn ads, would that make sense for me? Like, who should really be jumping into this?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn ads has the perfect targeting if you're in business to business or need to target someone by their job history or education. But the big challenge that most will face is that LinkedIn ads are expensive. If you're paying $6 to $10 a click, that it probably doesn't make sense if you have a lower lifetime value, or if it maybe is going to take too long to close a customer and you can't float the cash there. So I think really who should be using LinkedIn ads really comes down to the economics. You've got to know that, here's the right person that I'm targeting and I can reach them by the facets LinkedIn gives me. I know paying $6 to $10 a click, I can still be profitable on the back end because, when I close a deal, it's worth, $10,000 or $15,000 or more. And I think because it's really a more top to middle of funnel kind of approach, it also means that you have to have a softer approach. You can't just say, open up your wallet and buy something now, or get a demo from a sales rep, just because you're not providing enough value. You're not giving people incentive to interact. So you want to go for more of like, we'll obviously talk more about offers, but something where you're giving someone something in exchange for their email address, for instance.
Yeah, that was the one part that I really loved from last week. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in, because we've already talked about like why you should be on LinkedIn, but now let's go ahead and give you a behind the scenes look on LinkedIn ads, the campaign manager. This might even be a good opportunity for us to also talk about the different types of LinkedIn ads
Totally.
and why you prefer one over the other. Does that sound good?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to bring up my own LinkedIn platform here so that you guys can see what's going on. I can show you the individual ad formats, what they look like, all that. And I'm sorry, you're going to see like all my messages.
Everyone who has ever sent AJ a message, you are now on Lights Camera Live. Welcome.
That's right. Cool. Well, should we jump right into the different ad formats then?
Yes, I would love to. Let's do it.
Okay, so there are 4 different ad formats on LinkedIn that all of us can get access to just by opening a free account. So the very first one that I want to bring your attention to, it's going to be the second item in your newsfeed. And your newsfeed, it's your homepage on desktop, and it's the homepage on the app. So it's what everyone sees. So you come here to the second item in the feed, and you'll notice this says promoted. So we know that this is a sponsored ad, and I'm being targeted because I'm alumni of BYU, and so avgfunds.com must be wanting to go after just BYU alumni. But what you get here is, in the most vanilla version, you get a static image that's pretty much the same size as Facebook. It's 1200 by 627. You get about 150 characters of intro text before it gets truncated. And then you have this text down below that we call the headline. That works really nicely because it's so simple. It's like, if this has a bad click-through rate, I can troubleshoot this because I know it's either the image or the ad copy that's not resonating with my target audience. Sponsored content also has a few other flavors. You can do a video ad version, very similar to Facebook in that regard. But it obviously differs. It's a little bit more expensive, actually quite a bit more expensive, and no ability to retarget. But if I'm running a video ad and it doesn't perform, I know that there's more things to test to figure out what the problem is. Is it my creative wasn't good, or my ad copy wasn't good, or maybe they didn't work well together? Whereas if you do this kind of version that's just all static, it's so easy to troubleshoot.
And so this was a question that I had asked you last time was, are you limited by the amount of text that you could have on your image for your sponsored content as you are with Facebook's 20% rule?
Yes. The answer is no, thank goodness. LinkedIn does not have the same 20% rule. They don't have the same type of algorithm that will kind of ghost penalize you, I guess is what I'd call it, where you don't know why your ads all of a sudden are costing more. They don't have anything like that. So feel free to put as much text on there as you want.
Got it. Okay, cool. So this is called LinkedIn sponsored content.
Yes. If you're building this ad right from within the ads manager, it will call this single image ad, which is a little bit confusing, but that's what it is. Sponsored content is anything that would appear in your newsfeed. And then they have a single image version. They have video. They have carousel, very similar to what Facebook has. So you can include multiple images and links if you want. And then there's also another variant that I can actually show you because this one happens to have it installed. If you know Facebook's lead ads, LinkedIn has something very similar. They call it lead generation form ads. And so just for fun, I'm going to delete my phone number here just so you're not like, you can have my email address, that's fine. But what you saw here is as soon as I interacted with this, it pre-filled all of the information that LinkedIn had access to from my profile. It knows what my login email address is. It knows what my phone number is. They're asking a kind of custom question here because it's kind of in the education industry. So that they want to know like if I'm, loaded or not.
Mhm.
And then first name, last name, what school I went to. So all of that information pre-filled. And this works really well because all of that information is pre-filled. So you show this to someone on a mobile device and they go, oh yeah, it's all pre-filled out. I'll just hit go. Versus if they got to a landing page that asked me all of this, I would get, 2 fields in on mobile and go, my little fingers do not want to type this much, and I'd give up. So
Yeah, I mean, that was the exact question that I was going to ask you, is this mobile friendly, like these LinkedIn ad units?
yeah, when these very first came out, they were only available on mobile, and only like 6 months later did they roll them out on desktop. So now desktop works the same way.
Oh, so cool. So cool. And is this something that you use all the time with clients?
So about 60% of our clients are currently using only lead gen forms.
Wow.
And in full transparency, it's kind of a statistic that stings me a little bit because I feel like LinkedIn ads are all about having the best conversation, making the best introduction to exactly the right people.
Mhm.
And when you do these lead generation forms, the traffic never hits your website. So you can't track it with UTM parameters. You can't retarget it with Facebook and Google retargeting. And we've made it so easy for them to convert and fill out this form that if we got back to them, 2 or 3 days later, they would go, I don't remember filling out a form with you. Like, yeah, we see the same thing on Facebook too. But
Yeah.
yeah, my ideal is send them to a landing page where they get a full impression. They visited the site. You can retarget them, but clients absolutely love the fact that you can get a cost per lead that is, 10 to 50% lower than what you'd get on a landing page. So it's pretty hard to argue with that.
That's pretty cool. And does that funnel into like a Salesforce on the back end, or do you just get like a CSV file?
Yeah, you can do both. You can do CSV, but I wouldn't recommend it because you're just going to be getting back to leads way too late. But
Yeah.
it'll integrate into Salesforce, HubSpot, Marketo, LiveRamp, Eloqua. And if you don't have any of those, and there's a few others, but if you don't have any of those, they do integrate with Zapier. So if you're on their $20 a month plan, you can pipe these into whatever system you want.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. Okay, cool. And what else do we have?
All right, so that's sponsored content. This is where I recommend probably 90% of people start. It's the best kind of starter ad unit. It's not the least expensive. It's not the most expensive, and it's really good at getting a lot of engagement. So this is a great place to dip your toe in the water.
Love it.
The next one that you probably want to look at is over here, and it's going to be a little hard to see. This is called text ads. These were the original ad format that LinkedIn launched back in 2007. And they were the only ad format until 2013. So, they're kind of the OGs of the LinkedIn ad world.
Yeah.
But there's some really interesting things about these. First of all, they are LinkedIn's cheapest ad format. So it's nice to know that you can, on these, you're probably going to pay $6 to $10 a click. But on text ads, you can still pay all the way down to like maybe $3 to $5. And there's not much to them. You get a little 100 by 100 pixel image. So you can't really tell much of a story there. There's only 25 characters of text for a headline and 75 for the description here. So not a ton, but you don't have this right sidebar on mobile devices. So you know that the only traffic that you'll ever get from these ads is desktop traffic, which is really helpful because on the other ad formats, we can't choose to target either mobile or desktop, by device. So this is the way that we do it. If we know we only want desktop traffic, this is the right ad format. What you should understand here about these, though, is that they have a really, really low click-through rate. The average click-through rate is 0.025%. So put it into perspective, that's 2.5 clicks for every 10,000 times the ads are shown. So unless you have a really big audience, it's hard to spend a lot of money on these. But those that you do spend money on, they'll probably be very effective, usually high conversion rates and low costs.
Oh, very cool. All right. So basically don't discredit it.
Yeah.
There's still a way that you can use them.
Exactly. And even though you go, oh man, I'm only spending like $20 a week, that wasn't even worth my time to set up. What's super helpful to understand is if you're running both sponsored content and text ads together, they generally provide a lift of like 10 to 30% click-through rate lift, just because, these sponsored content, people can only see once, sometimes twice per day. So it's
Oh,
really
wow.
hard to saturate an audience. But these text ads, every time we refresh, like I can even try here, every time we hit refresh, there's a good chance we'll end up seeing the same ad or the same ads over and over.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Yeah, there we go. So
Very
I think
cool.
onboarding was one of the ads that we were seeing.
So it's nice because then it's kind of like even if you're looking at your news feed in your peripheral, you're still getting this brand awareness of like the logo and what they offer. So it still kind of keeps your brand top of mind and tip of tongue, even though you're not spending as much. So if you combine the two, the sponsored content and what do you call the right hand side again?
Oh, text ads.
Text ads, then you'll most likely see an increase in brand lift.
Yeah. And then they're so cheap and so low risk because even if you did make a mistake and gave all of your budget to them, they wouldn't go and spend it. It would just be like, obviously very low risk, but it's just a ton of free impressions that you're serving to your exact target audience. So yeah, don't discount them even though they might not spend much. They're a great companion ad unit.
Love
right.
it.
Anything else you wanted to go over on text ads, or do you want to jump into the next one?
You know what? Let me go ahead and just let me take a quick peek at the comments real quick. They're not coming through for the LinkedIn folks, but Marissa Callie is asking, "What are your thoughts on LinkedIn remarketing?"
Ooh, man, I hope no one from LinkedIn's watching this. I'll kind of step out on this ledge. LinkedIn has a retargeting platform very similar to what you could do with Google and Facebook, but it's cookie based only. And cookies are going away. Like with the California Consumer Privacy Act, we will probably see all of the browsers blocking cookies from everyone, like right out of the gate. And so unless LinkedIn fixes this and changes to a different way that they do retargeting, it will, like their retargeting will probably cease to function within probably the next 6 months to a year. But even when it is working, like we still have iOS browsers, like anything running Safari, iPhones, iPads, who haven't accepted cookies for a long time. So if I send like 1,000 people to a web page and I've paid, $6 to $10 a click for them, they're really valuable to me. Retargeting is probably only going to pick up half of them because half of your devices didn't even carry a cookie. So there's no problem using LinkedIn's retargeting. There's some cool stuff you can do by using them, but just be aware it's not very powerful. So my recommendation for anyone doing retargeting, use LinkedIn to send the exact right traffic to your landing page, and then use your Google and your Facebook retargeting, which are much better and much cheaper technologies to stay in front of them, stay top of mind.
See? Love that. That's gold right there. I don't know if you guys heard that, but if you want to take this moment right now to leave a comment and be like, I need to rewind that. This is at the 22-minute mark. But that is gold. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and move on to the next piece of the different LinkedIn ads.
Okay, cool. So next one, you're going to have to see my messages for me to get through this, but I saved one for you. So
this is probably like the one time in your life you're like, yay, I finally got a sponsored mail.
Exactly. I mean, I'm always excited to see what people are pitching me, but but certainly, oh man, I thought it was going to be like, oh, here we go. Ha. All right. So there's Chengdu High Tech is sending me this, and you can see, I'm actually going to zoom in because
go ahead.
I don't get to reopen this fresh. You can tell that this is called sponsored in mail because it's in my messaging box and it does say sponsored. So as opposed to the other ad formats that I've just showed you, when you only pay when someone clicks, on this one you pay to send it to someone with no guarantee that they'll open it or click on it. So you can see this one I haven't clicked on because I wanted you to experience this with me. When I click on it, that's going to count as an open for them. So they paid probably 35 to 65 cents to send it to me. And now as I click it, they'll see that resulted in at least an open for them.
Yeah.
And this right here, like the top piece of text, they call the subject line. This needs to be shorter than 25 characters, but keep it as short as possible because you can see how much my browser cut off here. Boom your business with abundant, and then nothing after that. That might be a misspelling. But Yeah, and then once you've opened it, now you see their ad copy, and you can have up to, I think it's 1,300 characters of text here. But again, this is someone's introduction to your brand, so you want to make it very conversational, short to the point. And you can see they've inserted my name, so you can insert variables like first name, last name, company industry, job title, so you can try to personalize it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can get this download free now is what they're giving me the call to action. This can be a lead gen form like we talked about with sponsored content, or you can send to a landing page. Let's see where they're sending me. Oh, it is. It's a lead gen form.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so very similar like we did before. But
now is that header image in the background because they didn't optimize their company page? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's from their company page. You might also be able to customize it at the ad level, which they've just gone with. They saw it was optional and didn't decide to do. So,
got it.
Sorry if anyone from Chengdu is watching this.
And so when you were talking about the subject line is limited to 25 characters and then it gets cut off, is that also different when you're looking at it on your mobile device? Do you also have like limited text?
Mobile cuts off a little bit earlier, but I think they only allow you to put in 25. But you can see from my browser size here, like if I back this off, yeah, it's still cutting it off at abundant, which is not a word.
I love how you had to plug that in. You're like, I hate saying this, but
but I could take, I mean, we know that this is all showing up on my desktop, and I think mobile cuts off a little earlier. We could take this and I'm going to do, I'll do JavaScript character count. Sorry, you're seeing all my
I love it.
Terrible misspellings. But
no, just the fact that you only have 3 tabs is like a round of applause.
Oh, oh, don't worry. There's another browser behind that one.
Oh.
So they're actually using 33 characters here, which is why it's getting cut off. So if you keep it under 25, it should work no matter what device you're on.
Got it.
I don't recommend most use this ad format. This is actually a pretty poor example that I'm showing you, just because I have no reason I would open it, let alone click on it. Like it's not speaking to me. There's spelling errors and stuff. But even if it was really good, you're going to pay 35 to probably 60 cents to send this to someone. And there's no guarantee that they'll click on it to open it or click on your offer. And so it puts multiple steps in between you and the click to get someone to even see your offer. So you could go sponsored content where I know I can bid a maximum of, let's say, $6, and I know I'm only going to pay $6 for a click. Versus this, there's so much more risk. Like if I have the averages of a 50% open rate and a 3% click-through rate, like you do the math and your calculated cost per click comes to something like $23 to $56. So the only reason I would recommend using this ad format is if you have a truly special offer, something that if you got it cold in your email, your email, you'd be excited about it. Like because of who you are in the industry, we want to give you early access or a sneak peek or invite you as a VIP to this event. Those are the kinds of things that are going to work well here. If it's just like sign up for this thing or pay us money, chances are it's going to be a really expensive cost per click and probably about the worst failure you've ever had.
It's like speaking from experience, because you've tested so many ads, right? I mean, it has to be so enticing, so seductive for them to actually want to go ahead and open it up, and just having those misspellings isn't going to help out at all.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So if you guys are just tuning in, we are talking about LinkedIn ads. I've got the amazing AJ Wilcox right here. Boop, boop, boop. There you are. And so far, we've talked about all the different LinkedIn ad types. We've talked about LinkedIn sponsored content. We've talked about the text ads. We've talked about sponsored mail. Are there any other ad units that we're going to cover before you jump into Campaign Manager?
So there is one more ad format that I'd like to show you, but you don't see it all the time, and that's actually okay. Probably what I'll do is if I can't find it by refreshing a few times, I will probably just maybe pull up a deck where there's a screenshot of it. Yeah, not seeing it. Anyway, this ad format, it's called dynamic ads. And here we go. I found one. It's this one right here. And what's dynamic about this is they actually stuck my profile picture right into the ad itself. So they've stuck probably their company logo here and my face, and then they give you a call to action. We talked about text ads, how small their click-through rate is, so it's hard to drive a lot of traffic. This is also in the right rail that shares the same space. So when you use it, you end up getting a really low click-through rate like text ads, but the cost per click on these is actually quite a bit higher than just normal sponsored content. If this, here we go, like figure 8, if I click this, they're probably going to pay, $6 to $10 for that click. If I click this one, they'll probably pay like $13 to $16 for that click. Yeah. So dynamic ads, if I could like insert the poop emoji on this one, I would say like, please don't use it. Like sponsored content, probably 100% of advertisers should be using. Text ads, maybe I'd drop it down to like maybe 15% should be using. Cool. For sponsored in-mail, I'm like, okay, 5%. You really have to have a special offer to make this work. For this, I literally have a 0 on this. Like, I don't think anyone should be using this ad. So, sorry, whoever this is.
You're like, the product manager for that is like, what? Why are you saying these things? Good.
Yeah. I'll have some hard conversations after this when LinkedIn watches it. So those are the 4 ad formats that I think everyone should know about. And like I said, just go with the most simple to start out with. Start with sponsored content with just a single image and test until you can figure out what's working and what isn't. And then explore from there, but get started where it's simple and easy to troubleshoot.
Okay, cool. Now that we've got that out of the way, I'm like getting ready in my chair because now you're going to go ahead and take a look at the LinkedIn Ads Campaign Manager on the back end and how to set things up, because that's really like what this is all about. It's understanding what the landscape is like on LinkedIn and then giving you a sneak peek on how the magic happens. And that's where AJ comes in.
Perfect. Well, I'll show you this dashboard. So the way you get to it is I just go to linkedin.com/ads. And if you're used to Business Manager in Facebook, it's a lot like that. You can have unlimited people give you access to their LinkedIn ads accounts, and you'll have a big list. I won't go to that page just so I don't like divulge client information.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I at least have it in my own personal sandbox account. And what you see is just immediately you're greeted with a list of all of your campaign names. And within the campaign itself, you go directly down to ads. So in Facebook, you have like campaign, then ad set, and then ads underneath. On LinkedIn, it's one layer flatter. It's your campaign dictates your audience, your budgeting, your bidding, your optimization type, your ad format. All of that lives at the campaign level, and then you just go down and create ads underneath.
Got it.
You will have different ways you can see the data, and this will feel, quite frankly, really janky, I'm sure, to all of you who might be used to being able to customize your columns. You can't customize your columns on LinkedIn. So you'll probably want to start on columns performance here, and that will give you all of the basics that you care about. So things like your impressions, clicks, and it's stalling on me, so I hope it doesn't make me look dumb. You'll see your impressions, clicks, and click-through rate, how much you're bidding, what your average cost per click is, conversions, leads. Leads come from when you use those lead generation form ads. Conversions come from your pixel firing and saying yes when you land on this page. That means it's a conversion. So they'll show you both. But if you really care about conversions, when you're doing some analysis, come and change this to conversions and leads, and that'll break down all the metrics in exactly the way that you want to see them. So come here and you can see your conversion rates, your cost per conversion, cost per lead. When I ran these campaigns back in like 2007, they had just implemented the conversion pixel. So you can see a conversion rate of 3.7% would be pretty embarrassing. So this was just like purely playing around. But this is where you can see all of that information. And I think what's maybe most valuable here in the dashboard is when you're inside of Facebook ads, it's very much a similar kind of view where you can just see your data. But LinkedIn used to have this graph top and center where you could like analyze your performance, see it charted over time. They moved it to where it's now 2 clicks away, which I didn't feel like that was a good move, but I guess I can't complain with a bunch of Harvard and Stanford MBAs. But if I go and like, I'll show you an example of what this looks like. If I just go and select these campaigns that spent, I can come up here to performance chart, and then I can get access to the chart. This kind of sucks a little bit because this was like back in 2017, and so you can see it just spikes. Not very helpful. Probably a lot more helpful to narrow down to just like when that was. So that was January of 07, January and February of 07. So bear with me here because there's a lot of click. I'm not going to do it. The dashboard just sucks too bad. But if you went through that process, you could see all of that happening. And sorry, I'm not like opening all my crap in front of you. But you could see like this is just charting by clicks, but you could easily come here and say, okay, I want to see how my click-through rates are trending over time. You know, I obviously had one like really high click-through rate month, and then it went down. I might ask myself why. And quite frankly, that is like, I was running sponsored content this month and then text ads that month. So that's why. But you can analyze your performance here. Like, what did my cost per conversion or cost per lead look like? How much did I spend? Like, what did I spend by month? These are all things that you can see very easily on a graph, on a chart, that you couldn't get a good appreciation for, just going through just the data and changing time periods. So check that out. Don't let the fact that LinkedIn hid it from you mean you don't get to use it.
Love it.
Something else I'd love to kind of point your attention towards. LinkedIn has this thing called website demographics. It's like Facebook analytics. It's free. Like, you don't have to advertise. You don't have to pay them a dime to be able to use this, but it's so valuable. So I'll show you an example.
Yeah. If you guys, when he showed this to me last week, I was like, no freaking way. So if you're like multitasking right now, looking at other tabs, stop, pay attention right now, because this is like the bomb. Go for it.
Cool. So you can break down, and this is all the traffic across your website. So you can see who's using my website, who is doing business with me, who's checking me out. The first thing it will drop you on is this display job function. So that's like what department someone works in. So you can see the vast majority of people who are visiting my site are people in biz dev and in marketing and, education, media and communications. We're an ad agency that works in B2B and in education. So you could imagine why that is. But you can also break down by job title. Who are these people? Like, lots of founders, speakers, board members who are checking me out. And if I'm not catering very well to those audiences, maybe I can start if I just know that these are the people who are looking at me.
I love that, because so Mike Alton, one of my good friends, he's always talking about, like, on your website, if you could develop some type of path for a specific persona. So if you're like, hey, if you're a founder and you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, click on this and then check out all of that content. Or if you're an advertising agency and you want to get LinkedIn certified, here's this content. So this is so cool. I can't wait to dive into it, like, for my own site.
Yeah. And I'll walk everyone through how they can do this too, because it is so cool. Some of the other things that you can break down, like, what are the industries that are caring about me right now? Lots of marketing and advertising. That just means like agencies, but computer software, internet, like, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
You can even see the companies that are checking you out. So if I look at companies, there's obviously my own company.
Yeah.
But people from LinkedIn are on my website. Probably reps. I don't know. This is actually a board I'm a member of the board of, but I can also look at, what are some of these other companies? If they're visiting my website, maybe I could like reach out to them specifically.
That's what I was thinking, because then at least you could go ahead and create your own audience and then put in those websites, right? To say, now, like, they're already checking me out. I'm obviously checking you out. Yeah. But if you wanted to, like, again, make your brand top of mind, tip of tongue, you could then put me in that specific category because I've already checked you out. Now you're just kind of like pushing it out there.
Exactly. And this is so powerful. Where else can you see what companies are visiting you without having to pay an ABM company, several thousands of dollars a month?
Yeah.
So cool. I love this. So to get this on your site, all you have to do is, I'm going to actually go with you and go to linkedin.com/ads.
Can I just say, like, it's been a while since I've seen anyone use Bing. Like,
It's awesome. So I've been a Google advertiser and Google marketer like for the last 12 years of my career.
Yeah.
And I saw friends who on for like their New Year's resolutions were doing things that were hard and different. And I was like, I keep hearing how Bing has gotten so much better over time. For my New Year's resolution, I'm going to change and search only on Bing for an entire year. That's been like 4 years ago. And
Wow.
I've just left it ever since. And now that Microsoft owns LinkedIn, now I feel like I'm helping support them a little bit. So
There you go. There you go.
so if you go to linkedin.com/ads, it'll open up this page. And when you click on create ad, it will take you to your list of accounts or where you can add an account. Just create an account for your company. Like I said, you don't have to install a credit card. You can see on this one, I haven't updated my billing details since like I got a new credit card. And so as long as you don't mind a big red banner across the top of your screen, you don't have to spend a dime. You just come here to account assets and insight tag. And I've already installed this, but if you haven't installed the tag, there will be an option to create one or generate one. Mm-hmm. But I'll show you what mine looks like. It's just a piece of JavaScript that is, really similar to that of like your Facebook pixel that you've probably already installed.
Yeah.
And they sure make it hard to see when I hover over, but it's a little snippet of JavaScript that does three things. It's it's your website demographics that are free. It's conversion tracking, and it's your retargeting. So if you want to use any of those three things, just install this on every page of your website. And once it accrues about 300 people who come to your website and it recognizes, then you'll start to get these really detailed analytics like I showed you. So
how soon do you get that analytics? Like, do you have to wait 72 hours for it to start pulling that in, or just when people start hitting your site?
They have to have at least 300 people hit your site. So if you're like a really big site, you could hit that within a day. But certainly for me, I probably have to wait probably a good 72 hours to start getting feedback there.
Got it.
But then, like I said, you don't have to spend anything. You just come here to this website demographics tab inside your ads account, and you can see everything I showed you.
So when you have an audit with a client, are you just like, oh, okay, well, like, let's install this LinkedIn Insights tag, and you're just like, boom, these are all the people you can target right now.
Yeah, and I think this is the free version of what you already get when you're running ads. So if I'm running ads, I can click on, and I'll show you this. I can click on the ad demographics. So it's this right here, and I have to go change my time period to all time to get data. But I can click here to demographics, and I see the same stuff, but this is just for the audiences that I was going after. And since 2017, they've lost the data, but it's the same stuff. You can look at by job function, by company, by all those things. So when I'm advertising for someone, I will oftentimes take a look at their demographics, who they're hitting. And if I can see like, whoa, job function of sales is bringing in like a third of your leads or a third of your traffic, but you're not going after salespeople, let's go actively add them as an exclusion. So those are some of the ways I like to use the demographics, is figuring out who I want to exclude.
Yeah, smart. Love it. Love it. So Anisha is just saying you can use these insights to help decide what content you want to use in your ads, especially video. Very true.
Absolutely. Yep. If you have a very predominant kind of persona who's coming, speak to them in video, create content for them. It's super valuable.
Love it. All right, cool.
Okay, so what I'd love to do now is actually take you through the campaign creation process, because this is, I think, where all the magic is. I kind of showed you ancillary stuff. If you're used to Facebook, this will look really familiar. You can choose what your objective is. If you're not sure, I will almost always go to website visits, just because it's the most simple. It's one of the least expensive. And the first thing it'll ask you to do is choose your geography. So I'm going to come in here and just, for ease, say North America. And you can see LinkedIn populates my estimated target audience size over here. The more stuff we add, like, keep your eye on this. This is really interesting. 170 million LinkedIn members in North America. And we can come down and pare it down. The very first thing I will do in every campaign, you see this checkbox was automatically enabled called Enable Audience Expansion.
Yeah.
This is like LinkedIn's version of Lookalikes. And if I'm paying $6 to $10 a click, I want to be really explicit about who I'm showing ads to. And this allows LinkedIn to put people into the audience that it thinks are relevant. So I'm going to say no thanks to that.
No.
Exactly. So
no to audience expansion. If that's like one thing you walk away with today, that is it.
yes. And you can do lookalikes on LinkedIn just like on Facebook. But if you check this box, you want to do that in a separate campaign. Because if you check this box, you have your target audience you've gone after and this muddied audience that LinkedIn thought was relevant kind of stuck together, and you can't report on them differently. You can't tell which one was effective, which one wasn't. So just disable it. Go ahead and run a lookalike somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now you can further narrow your audience. So we're adding and targeting. So they have to be in this location and they have to have, this job title. So what I want to show you here is kind of where everyone usually goes. They'll go to job experience and job titles. And if we do something like sales manager,
yeah.
If I choose this job title, watch what happens to this audience size. We go from 170 million down to 980,000. So it's the first place everyone goes. I know job titles. Well, what you don't know is that LinkedIn only understands about 1/3 of all job titles. And so you're excluding usually about 2/3 of the audience that you could be targeting. And because it's where everyone else goes, it's more competitive and you're going to pay more for it.
Oh.
So instead, and maybe I won't say instead of, because I really like job title targeting still, I would say in addition, check out, get rid of job titles and instead go job experience, job function. This is their department. Go to sales. And then layer on, we'll go narrow further. We'll also narrow on their seniority.
Ooh, good. Yeah, because you want someone that's more senior.
Exactly.
Depending on what it is that you want, right? Yeah.
Yeah. If your job title you're going after is sales manager, you can go and find the job function of sales and seniority of manager and layer them on top of each other. You're getting the same person, but look at this. LinkedIn said that there were 980,000 by job title, but I narrowed down by exactly the same stuff. And now I get 1.9 million. So we've over doubled the size of this audience just because, we found another way to do this. They're the right people and they're also going to be less competitive than job title targeting. So we'll probably pay less per click for these. It's really helpful to understand that there are multiple ways of going after an audience on LinkedIn because they have so much data.
Yeah, I love that.
Something else you could do, and I like 4 different kinds of targeting. I like job title, job function with seniority, like we just built.
Yep.
I like skills with seniority, and I like groups with seniority. And the way that this would play out, I could go and get rid of job function and seniority, and instead go and target. I'd actually leave seniority, but go and target sales skills, maybe some deeper sales skills that you'd only have if you were in sales. And then layer manager seniority on top. And lo and behold, I have sales managers again in a little bit of a different way that might end up being less expensive or give me access to more volume if I'm trying to scale.
Smart. I hope one of you guys were taking notes. Otherwise, we are at the 48-minute mark. So you can rewind on that because that was gold right there. Even Amanda Robinson says that you are dropping huge knowledge bombs right here today. So yay. Thank you, AJ.
Awesome. And I could do the same thing with groups. I can go and target just sales groups. You wouldn't be a member of this group unless you were in sales, and you target just the managers there. And groups will probably give you a little bit smaller of an audience, but it's probably the most active audience because they went way out of their way to go join a group. So they'll probably be doing more clicking, maybe more converting, and it's worth testing. So that's how I go about targeting a persona. But then you have this whole other side to how we target, which is I got the right persona, but am I getting the right company? We talked about how you can target by company name, with ABM. That's pretty exciting. We can target by company size, which we talked about with how many employees they have, and also industry. And so we will do the same kind of thing. If we're going after companies with only 1,000 and above employees or 5,000 and above employees, we would build out all 4 of these targeting types and layer on the same company size or the same industry or the same company names. And now you have a really systematic approach where everything else is held constant. It's the same persona, it's just 4 different ways of targeting. So when we see one costing more, one costing less, one having a higher conversion rate or higher lead quality, we can start pushing the budget towards what is working and starve the things that aren't working.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, because like even in my head, I'm thinking of the different LinkedIn ad types that we talked about, the four ways that we would target it via the audiences, and then you would see which one is moving the needle pretty much, and then starve the ones that aren't really helping.
Yeah.
I don't know why I felt bad for saying starving.
Yeah, we can change our metaphor to less of that. But and we can even take this a step further where we say, right here, we're targeting sales managers, but what if we made exactly the same copies of these campaigns and we did one targeting directors and one targeting VPs and another targeting C-level, which would be like chief sales officers.
Yeah.
Now, if we launch even the same 2 ads, like the same A/B test within all of those, now we're able to roll this up and find out which level of seniority costs more, costs less, converts more, is of higher quality. And if we find out that VPs are our true target audience, we can start tailoring all of our content to VPs or come out with our own content just for them.
Dude, this is amazing. See, I was telling AJ, I was like, AJ, everyone has been asking for this episode, and I know that you're going to bring it. So you guys, like, if you're loving this, by all means, give him some love, show him some hearts, because he is going all out, and I love it.
Thanks so much for that. So anyway, this is just so exciting to me. I think that because LinkedIn has all of this data about you professionally, that we can find all kinds of ways to slice and dice. It just makes you super powered as a marketer, especially because I guarantee your competitors are not going through all this work. They're too lazy, but you're not lazy. You were listening to Stephanie Liu. So
that's right. Yes. Oh my God. Go for it.
Cool. So anyway, that was the way that I do targeting from the beginning. And then if you want to go and layer on those things like we talked about, like company size, we'll do that here. And one little hack I want to teach you that not very many people know, and maybe just don't share it a whole ton because I kind of want this to keep working. But what most people do when they come to company size is they go, I'm targeting, companies with 200 to 1,000 employees. So they're going to come and check these 2 boxes. Actually, I'm going to use a different example. Let's say I'm targeting just small to medium-sized businesses. So maybe I care about these like myself only, 2 through 10, 11 to 50 kinds of companies. Look at this audience size here, 270,000. That's fairly large, but watch how this changes. Rather than including just the smaller, what I want to do is I want to get rid of this and I want to exclude just the larger, and I want to show you what happens. So if I come down here to exclude audiences, come again to company size, I'm going to exclude just the ones that are larger than, was it 1 through 50 that we were doing?
Yeah, 11 through 50 is where you stopped. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go 51 and above, we're going to exclude. And I think we had somewhere around 280,000 before. Look where we're at now, 530,000.
Oh,
and
wow.
The reason for this is that there's a whole bunch of companies out there who haven't gone and specifically created a company page on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn doesn't know what size they are, but you can figure if someone's running a company or managing a very small company, they probably don't have a marketing resource who thought to go and create that page. So now, if we do this kind of targeting, we're left with not only those who have declared to be between 1 and 50 employees, we're also left with all the undeclareds, which are probably in that range anyway. And we just doubled our audience with people who are, quite frankly, probably a lot cheaper. I bet like our cost per click would be a lot lower on this audience than if we were just going after the ones who had claimed what they were.
Gold. Love this. I wish I had like the sound effects into the live stream, because you would just hear this like,
cheering, yay, clapping, full standing ovation.
Seriously.
And maybe one more thing I'll show you, because I know we're kind of getting to the end here. This is how we do our targeting natively, but using LinkedIn, you can also bring in your own data, and oftentimes this is a lot less expensive. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to just search for just my own company name.
Yep.
I can come here to account assets, and do matched audiences. So matched audiences is where I get to do retargeting. It's where I get to do email list upload, which everyone's used to if you're used to Facebook, like that, nothing's new there. But
Yep.
you get company name upload, which is hot. I love this. You can go in and upload a list of up to 300,000 company names to add on to things. So if you're doing like account-based marketing where you have a list of here's the top 3,000 accounts that we care about, or maybe we just want to target like the CEOs of the Fortune 500, I could go find a list of the Fortune 500, upload it, and then just overlay like a CEO job title on top. And like now I have ultimate access to just showing my ads to the only company that my sales team may care about.
See, that was so smart because even when you had mentioned this to me last time, I was like, so basically I could hire someone on Fiverr or like Upwork and say like, if there's this conference, if someone is sponsoring this conference and they're like the platinum sponsors, they obviously have budget. Let's go ahead and get a list of those names, upload it into here, and then boom.
Yes, I love it. And that's exactly the way you should be using this. Like if you go in, let's say you're the sponsor of an event, but you have to pay like $20,000 extra to get a list of the email addresses of attendees. How about just stick with where you're at, where they give you a list of just the companies who are attending, upload that to this list and target just those who are, the right kind of decision makers for what you do. And you're still getting ahead of them and you're actually hitting them and their coworkers. It's so much more powerful.
Mike Alton says, oh my gosh.
Thanks,
Told
Mike.
you. Told you this show is fire. Good. All right. What else you got?
The last piece you have here is, we have website, which is, your retargeting, which isn't quite as powerful, but I think it will be in the future. You have list upload, which is company name or email address. And then you have lookalikes, just like Facebook, where you can take any list. Like I've got the Inc. 5000 from 2016. I can click this, create a lookalike from it. And it's actually probably too old now because this was back from 2016. But the way that it works is like you just create lookalike and LinkedIn will go and process it. I will warn you, it's not nearly as sexy as Facebook's lookalike, where you can like drag from 1 to 10% lookalikes and craft it. It's just, you kind of get what it is that you get. But certainly it's nice to have any feature that LinkedIn will build for us.
Love it. I love it. So I know that's already 11:57, and I think if I recall correctly, you have a meeting that's coming right up after this. Is that right?
I actually have a few minutes, so I can.
Okay, cool. Because I would love to show a couple of the comments, and I think you could see the comments on your end too. So I'm just going to throw a couple on here, and I have your LinkedIn if you guys want to check him out. Check him out. One of the questions that we have so far is Anisha was asking, remind us again, why are LinkedIn ads more expensive than Facebook?
Facebook has people narrowed down by so many different aspects, like what their levels of interest are. And each person is probably interested in 200 or 300 different topics in LinkedIn's data. So it's just this ability to separate the population by so many different ways. It keeps competition much lower. Whereas there really are only so many job titles out there, only so many companies, only so many industries. And so I think we have less choices where people tend to stack on those few categories. And then also people go and spend like hours a day on Facebook. They're checking in, 5-10 times a day. Whereas on LinkedIn, they don't spend as much time there creating ad inventory. So the more people come and spend time on LinkedIn, which we're seeing happen a lot right now, the more ad inventory it creates and kind of the lower it keeps prices.
Yeah.
It probably will never bring prices down, but it can sure keep them at bay so that they don't spike and go up like Facebook is right now.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense because I feel like when you're on Facebook, you're either there because you have a purpose or you're there to go ahead and, just watch viral videos. Whereas LinkedIn, you're pretty much there for a purpose. It's either to get connected with someone, be introduced to someone, or, glean more insights about what's happening in your industry.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
Cool. So Jim is asking, can you set up multiple website tags if you're managing multiple customers?
Absolutely. What you do is each of those accounts, all of your client accounts, they will grant your personal LinkedIn profile access to the ads account. And then when you log in just through your own personal, there's no like trying to share credentials across your team and make sure that when someone leaves, you have to change the password and all that. It's just everyone manages it through their own account that you just manage your own password. and then you will just very similar to Facebook's Business Manager, just click into the individual account you want to manage. You can get access to all of their different insight tags there, and work with all of their different data.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so James is asking this question, and it deals with targeting again. I feel like we've covered off on LinkedIn and Facebook pretty much in terms of the differences and the similarities, but do you know much about YouTube targeting as well?
Yeah, YouTube is going to be very contextual, much more related to search. So YouTube will give us the ability to target by keyword, whether someone is searching for it or whether they're just viewing content about it, which is great. Like if you have a business category that there's already keywords around it, YouTube is a great way of just being in front of people while they're searching while they're interested in a given topic. But where social media is so good is introducing people to subjects that they've never heard of before or that they don't know. So if you have this like a new disruptive kind of product or service, something that there isn't an established keyword for, then social media becomes so important. So that's why you'd go to Facebook or LinkedIn or Facebook as opposed to YouTube or vice versa.
Got it. Good. And then I also want to give some love to the LinkedIn audience. Sorry, we don't get comments just yet on StreamYard for LinkedIn comments, but you are definitely getting some love. Jim says, mind blown. Damian Donaldson, customer acquisition costs. Oh my God, I love it. Solange says that you are a fountain of knowledge. Dan Holloway, the fellow that I was telling you about earlier, how he wanted to get in front of more speaking engagements, told him this was the episode to watch. So yay, he's here. Yes. And then our good friend Anton from SEM Rush. He's in the house. Yeah. So he's saying, hey, it's the both of us together, which reminds me, you guys, Global Marketing Day is happening on October 30th. So that is globalmarketingday.com. And it's going to be like, gosh, are you going to be there? Are you speaking? I'm
not speaking on this one, but they do have at least one speaker from LinkedIn. So that'll be exciting. If you want to learn more about LinkedIn, check out Alexandra Wren's presentation. It should be good. This is 24 hours of straight content. I hope you're taking your caffeine pills.
Oh, I know, right? I'm just like, people have been messaging me on LinkedIn. They're like, I am booking this, and that. So yeah, 24 hours of content of like in-house marketing, B2B, B2C, globalmarketingday.com. Awesome. All right, let's see what other comments that we have here. Oh, Marissa Kelly is asking, you need to have the LinkedIn pixel on your website before you get this data. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's the pixel has to be on the website and you have to have an audience defined first before it can start collecting data. If you're using Facebook, you're probably used to the fact that like you can install the pixel and then later you can go and define an audience and it will go, oh, I recognize people like this, and it will go into the past and it will kind of group people. LinkedIn isn't quite so sophisticated. So you have to set this up first and then it will start tracking all the traffic from then on out.
And are these things that you actually outline in your LinkedIn ads checklist?
So the LinkedIn ads checklist is actually how to get started. So it's things like how to install that pixel. So yes, that's covered. How to get access to an account, how you get access to the LinkedIn company page. So certainly if you go to b2linked.com/checklist, you download that sucker, you'll have the best leg up to get started.
Cool. And then Tim is asking, do LinkedIn ads make sense for certain types or sizes of businesses?
Yeah. LinkedIn ads are really good for lead generation, which is the majority of, I think, what we've talked about today. But there's also a few different areas where they also perform quite well. One is in hiring. So if you're trying to target anyone for like a white collar kind of job, then LinkedIn ads makes a lot of sense, because if you show an ad to someone, let's say you want to target, or you want to bring on a new sales manager into your organization, you can target people who already have the job title of sales manager in your area and say, we're interested in you. Do you want to apply? And you end up getting these like passive candidates that recruiters love so much. And you know, they're already qualified. So that works really well. Financial services and education also do quite well on LinkedIn ads. And those are technically B2C. So lots of different areas that you can have success in.
And then our last and final question for you. I know this is like the fire round. Thoughts on cost per conversion comparatively? I think Dan is saying across platforms.
Yeah. We generally see, because LinkedIn's cost per click is going to be about probably 2 to 3 times more expensive, we'll oftentimes see the cost per conversion being 2 to 3 times more expensive on LinkedIn. So the real value though is when you look at the quality of the lead, LinkedIn let you be so specific about who you're showing your ads to. So you can make sure you can kind of pre-qualify that traffic and make sure that this is exactly the right person. Versus on Facebook, where the targeting is a little bit more broad, you'll probably have to cherry pick a little bit and try to get the gold out of that audience. So if you can run a test on both and find out that, yeah, I'm paying 3 times more for my conversions on LinkedIn, but the quality of the leads has increased by 40%, then you know that it's actually cheaper to advertise on LinkedIn than it would be on Facebook in that regard.
Got it. Okay. I love this. I feel like I'm going to have like the most epic blog recap on LinkedIn ads ever, but in no way will that blog recap actually do justice, because my good friend AJ Wilcox has a book coming out. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, so this one's probably going to be out in about 2 months. So don't worry, your blog recap will be out first and it will get all the glory. My book can come out a little bit later. But this is pretty much all of the same strategies that I've learned over the last 8 years of advertising, packaged into written form. And I will be doing an audio version because I love audiobooks and I love when the author reads them and goes off on side tangents. So anyway, you can expect that from me.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so if you guys absolutely love the show, please go ahead and give AJ Wilcox some love. Go ahead and find him on LinkedIn. Write him an amazing review and saying, hey, you know what? I love so much all of the knowledge bombs and I look forward to your upcoming book. Is there anything else that you're working on that you want to go ahead and share with the Lights Camera Live crew?
So I do have a podcast coming out. I don't have a page to send you to, so just be on the lookout for the LinkedIn Ads podcast within about the next 1 month. So yeah, if I did okay speaking live, then I'll probably sound a little bit better being pre-recorded and edited.
You did more than okay. In fact, Amanda Robinson says, great job. She absolutely loved this. So everyone, if you missed this live, if you're just catching this on the tail end, do not worry. Once the broadcast ends, you could go ahead and hit rewind and watch it from the very beginning. All right, AJ, thank you so much. This was amazing. This was brilliant. And I had such a great time. Again, if you guys want to get in touch with AJ, go find AJ.
Thanks so much. And Stephanie Lou, ladies and gentlemen. Woo, give her a hand.
I told you guys this would be good. All right, you guys, thank you very much. Bye for now.
Bye.